switch 2 words, coming soon, to just listed, to under contract, to sold.
And that takes 5
That's all you have to do.
Oh, yeah.
Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Break It Down with Braydon. Super excited. I got Geoff and Andrea Lilienfeld on with me today. Thanks for joining us, guys.
Yeah, morning.
Thanks for having us.
Absolutely. Yeah, actually, Andrea was actually one of my very first guests on the podcast, so thank you very much for being one of my guinea pigs, and excited to have you on again. And actually, the first time I've actually had a guest repeat, so extremely excited for this.
How exciting.
Yeah.
Fancy.
I love being the first.
I love it. So Geoff and Andrea both own the K Grant Group at my home group, and then as well as a software company called Pelican, and which is a one-stop shop postcard mailing software company, as well as they do a couple other things in terms of like online ads and a couple other
postcard, digital ads, so Facebook ads, Google ads, all the things that you need to, really just maximize that marketing ROI.
Love it. And Andrea, tell everybody a little bit about the K Grant Group.
Yeah, so the K Grant Group is based out of Scottsdale, but we service the entire valley. We have a team now of already 20 agents. So in between those 20 agents, we have people that specialize in all the different niches that you would need in the different areas of the valley. And we're doing right around $100 million a year right now in production, with looking at 2023 as being a big year of growth for us.
Love it. Yeah, that's huge numbers, obviously, as a team. So kudos for you guys for having the success of what you've created. It's very impressive and pretty cool. So, and then Geoff, talk a little bit about Pelican. So I know you mentioned briefly kind of what it is, but how did you kind of start it and kind of get it to where it is today?
Yeah, so I mean, Pelican was really founded out of our own needs. So when Andrea and I started the K Grant Group, we knew that, postcards just had to be a piece of it. We'd read The Millionaire Real Estate Agent. It's what got us really excited to get into real estate. I love generating leads. Andrea's the people person. And postcards, everything that I'd read, like, book after book, it's like, if you're doing real estate and you want to kill it, postcards have to be a piece of it. And so I was sold. I'm like, let's do it. I'm amped. I'm excited. I'm like, I want my postcards to be super targeted to every neighborhood I'm mailing to, right? I want to tell them I am the Optima Camel View expert. And as I started going out there, I found that every postcard company I talked to had these huge minimum orders. And if I wanted to have a postcard that was tailored to one community and there were 400 homes in that, I was paying like $2 a freaking postcard. So, my background's in software, and I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, there's got to be a way to solve this with software. And so it took us, over a year to really build out the application. But we built it in such a manner that we do all this stuff on the back end that allows us to do smaller batch postcard runs for the same price as our competitors do the big batch, right? So for the same price, you might go and pay like a Corfact, the same, 5,000 postcards. We charge that even if you want to mail one postcard. So that's how we got into this. And we have over 50,000 agents on the platform now. We have some awesome partners like Great American Title, right? So Braydon kind of piloted this program where, the Great American Title team actually has some unique pricing. And so, if you're using Great American and you're talking to your account rep, they can actually help you mail postcards through Pelican.
Absolutely. Yeah, appreciate the plug.
The plug. Hey, I do what I can for you. But yeah, so that's where it came from. And this year I think we've seen it's been kind of an interesting change in the mix. A lot of these smaller agents we're seeing not necessarily mail as much, and some of those are dying down and going away.
Yep.
What's been interesting, though, is we have kind of multiple opportunities now with some of the larger partners that it seems like a lot of people are ready to make big plays, right? It's like, okay, we went through our chicken with our heads cut off, and we're just running all over the place doing deals, and now people are like, okay, I want to get strategic while I have a little bit of downtime.
Yep. Andrew, you and I were talking a little bit earlier, and you kind of talked about how you're facilitating using Pelican for your team, as well as some different coaching stuff you guys are doing, and just kind of the accountability piece that you have for your team. Can you kind of elaborate a little bit on some of that stuff?
Yeah, what we're seeing as we move into this year, and Geoff kind of referenced there, is deals aren't just falling in your lap and you're running all over right now. You really have to get strategic and just go back to the basics. We all know what works in real estate. It's about actually doing it and having a system in place to be able to do it. And so with our team, that's our big focus right now. And we've actually taken it to the point we've created our own internal coaching and accountability group called Catapult, where every week we're turning in our trackers saying, okay, did you mail your sphere? How many people did you call? What are you doing face-to-face to get in front of people again?
How many events did you attend?
How many events? Exactly. I think you've heard us talk about some of this.
I've heard about Catapult.
in our morning meetings, but it really does go back to the basics. And, you know, one thing Geoff and I have talked some about is this is the year really that the gold is in the database. And so how do you touch that database and do it in a systematic way that even if you get busy and you're out doing showings and running all over, you don't forget about keeping that pipeline warm and touched.
Yeah, absolutely. It's always kind of funny, right? So with Wise Pelican, for anyone out there that's a Wise Pelican user, I'm sure you know our sales team is fairly aggressive. And maybe it's an understatement. I don't know. But every once in a while we'll have someone that's like, "What is wrong with you guys? Like, you reach out too much." And I really, when I see it and I hear from our account execs and they're like, "Hey, maybe we're reaching out too much," I'm like, "No, you need to tell them they need to be reaching out more. Right. We're just showing you how to work a friggin' database. You need to be out there working that database, and that is where the gold is."
Absolutely. And they signed up somehow, right?
Yeah, I mean,
they asked for information at some point.
Yeah, and we've seen it.
And I think it's not only the database of the internet leads that we've driven and signed up. It's even talking about your sphere of influence in your family and stuff. They want to help you, but you get busy and they're ready to go make a move and they're sitting with someone else that mentions they're a realtor or some other realtor happens to cold call them that day. You need to stay in front of them. And so that's one thing that agents on our team all do is they mail their sphere. We sit down with them when they start and we go through an exercise we call Acres of Diamonds. And part of it is after we listen to it, they have to sit there and come up with a list of 50 people that they're going to be mailing every single month. And it doesn't necessarily have to be in Arizona. A lot of people are transplants. I look at when we started, we didn't know hardly anyone. We had just moved to Arizona. Everyone we knew were realtors. We were meeting in real estate class. They're not going to give us our first deal.
Right.
And so coming up with that list, I ended up with my sister-in-law's brother-in-law on it, right? It was everyone who I had invited to my wedding ended up on that list. And we'd invited them to watch the kids. We had it. We really did, but they got a wedding invite. And so they started getting our postcard. 3 of my first 5 transactions were them buying investment properties, and they live in Minnesota. They're not even here, but that doesn't mean they didn't want to invest here.
I always use that example when people are always like, "Well, I don't really have a database that I should farm or whatever." And I'm like, "Well, you probably have friends that know, like, and trust you already. That's your database that you start with. And then once that's, already running and you feel confident with that and it's successful, then grow it and start adding a farm or something like that." But you do have a database for sure. And they should definitely know that you're an agent and at least getting something from you on a regular basis to remind them that you're an agent.
Well, and I think the big thing with postcards and what I liked about it is I'm not a pushy salesperson. That is not who I am. I don't want my friends to dread seeing my name pop up because they're going to ask, "You want to buy or sell a home? Who do you know that wants to buy or sell a home?" I don't want that. It needs to be more natural. What postcards do is every month it's reminding them I'm a realtor without me telling them I am. And honestly, when they first started getting our postcards, they were excited. I'd get pictures of the postcards sent to me saying, "You won't believe it, you were in my mailbox today."
No way.
As if I didn't know I had mail.
Oh, how'd that happen?
Right, but it made this level of professionalism that set me apart from the other 7 realtors that they'd met at the event they went to Friday. Those people weren't mailing. Those people were doing it as a hobby. We were doing it as a business.
That's the real thing. So, I mean, coming from Wise Pelican, and obviously we make money when people mail more postcards. Yes, we, love people farming and, huge farms, multiple thousands, tens of thousands of homes. But if you're just getting into it, man, your sphere is where it is at. Postcards to your sphere are a magical, magical thing, because what you just said is exactly like nail on the head. If you know 10 real estate agents and you get a postcard every month from one of those 10 real estate agents, you know 9 real estate hobbyists and 1 professional real estate agent. And it's how you're going to think about it.
No,
yeah.
sure.
I mean, of course, like you want to be posting to Facebook and using social and doing all those things also, but everybody can do that. Even though a postcard is only 77 cents, if you get that postcard in your mailbox, you're like, oh crap, I didn't realize when Andrea said that she does real estate that she's really pro. And it's, you know, I mean, if you're on any like Facebook groups like Facebook Lab Coats or whatever, you know, you're very familiar with all the people out there just complaining all the time of like, I can't believe I have this friend that didn't use me. And, you know, sometimes, and I actually have gone so far as to, I wrote an email. This is one of our marketing emails for Wise Pelican that says, if you've been on Facebook complaining about your friend using another real estate agent, the good news is you can change that. Because when I've had those conversations, people say it, I'm like, you know how often our team doesn't get one of our friends or family's real estate business? 0. It happens 0. And because why would they possibly? We do everything we can to make sure that they know we are the people to use.
Yep.
And I think that's something that goes into our entire team, right? Like every agent, when they start, if they're brand new and never done a deal,
Yep.
or they've been in the business forever, it's, okay, we're building your brand. When you meet with anyone, you sit down with your mom who's thinking about buying, you're going to have the same buyer presentation, you're going to have the folder, you're going to have the same swag,
Yep.
and it's all going to be branded, the same brands. Because if you look professional and you act the part, they're not going with someone else.
Yep.
And so we do all of that. We don't even turn on an agent's leads until all of their marketing has been created so they look professional and look like they've been doing it forever,
Right.
even if they haven't.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah. First thing Andrea says is, no, you're not doing anything till you get a headshot. You're getting a headshot right now. We're getting your business card. We're getting your email signature.
Yep.
Everything is getting set up because that's the brand.
Like you don't announce it on Facebook that you're a realtor until you have all these things, because the second you say you're a realtor, someone will reach out to you.
Yep.
And if you meet with them the first time and you don't have your stuff put together, you're setting yourself up for failure. That's what they're going to tell your other friends.
Yep.
Mhm.
But if you're set up with the full package and they're like, oh my gosh, I know you just got into it, but wow, I've never seen this.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's a shoe-in.
Yep.
They're going to go with you every time.
You brought up leads, and I know you guys kind of geek out over leads. So you already got 20 agents on your team. If you were to add more agents, because I know that's your goal, how do you have the capacity to do that?
So I'm going to let Geoff touch on this.
You're
That's
gonna
really
let me
his.
talk about leads?
I was going to say, this is dangerous.
How much time do we have?
I can talk all day about how to work those leads and what we're going to do to convert them, but really bringing in the leads is Geoff's realm.
So
So I apologize to everyone. You're going to hear way more than you need to know about
Andrea's
this,
realm
but-
is generally telling me to slow down the leads. So I mean, ultimately, we've created. So it's taken us 8 years to do it.
Yep.
But we have created a website in this market that is built out thousands and thousands of pages for every tiny search term you could possibly imagine. And through that, we generate leads organically, right? So organic, top of Google type clicks and traffic below the ads. And then we also run ads on that. What a lot of people don't know is that when you're running Google ads, they actually look at the content of the pages also. So because even if it's an ad, Google's gotten its name based on the fact that you get the best search results from them. So even if you're clicking on an ad, they want to make sure that when you click on that ad, you're still going to a page that's relevant.
Right.
And so essentially we have, the organic traffic and then a whole bunch of traffic that we pay for. And then our site is just designed so that once somebody clicks on one of those ads and they start looking around the site, we're going to get them to sign up with their name, email, and phone number. And then we distribute those leads out to our agents. And honestly, right now, we're in a position that Andrea is yelling at me each day to get the lead flow down because it's not necessarily good, right? Like kind of an interesting phenomenon we've learned is that if you start giving people too many leads, they stop working any of the leads.
Yep.
Right? And then everybody loses. We're spending money. They're not working the leads. It all fails.
Yep.
And so that is a real thing, right? Is how do we keep the leads turned down? And so Andrea's goals always said, 1 lead per agent, per day. As you said, we have 20 agents. Right now I'm generating 60 leads a day. So that's
3 per person.
3. So, kind of really a little bit of a fail on my part almost.
That's a lot of leads. 100 leads a month almost. That's a lot of leads.
So it's, yeah.
Especially if they actually start working some of those and stuff. They get bogged down and they're showing houses or whatever. And
Exactly. And you can't give the level of service that these leads really deserve and they're expecting, or else they'll find someone else.
Right.
And so not only does conversion rate go down if you get too many leads, but your overall production goes down with it at the same time. So it's a fine balance, but I personally believe if we're giving every agent at least 1 lead a day, there is 0 reasons that any agent on our team shouldn't be making a good 6-figure income working with us if they follow the systems, they use our material. It's a slam dunk, really.
Talk a little bit about like the accountability piece, like how often you guys' team meets, kind of that kind of function of it, and like what they would kind of expect from joining the K-Grant group.
Yeah, so our team meets every Tuesday morning where we go through what the different initiatives are, different projects that we're working on. If there's new forms, education, anything like that is covered on our Tuesday morning meetings. And then we meet every Thursday afternoon, and that's more a fun happy hour working session.
Yep.
And so when you're there on Thursday, if you show up, you're going to leave doing something that moved your business forward. Whether that's we're making new gifts for you that we're going to use on our social media, or we're creating pop-by items that you can stop by with, or a fun email that you can blast out or text to send. But
what's the guy's name that comes in every Tuesday after the meeting as well that helps you guys create all the content?
Mike.
Yeah.
Yep.
So he comes in every Tuesday, right?
He comes in once a month to do the videos. He's based out of Tucson, actually, but he comes in and he creates really professional videos for us.
Yep.
Because what we've learned with social, with YouTube, with everywhere is you have to have a good combination of the everyday you're out doing showings. What's your personality? You're sitting there, you're doing a selfie video, right?
Yep.
You have to do videos right now. But to really take everyone to the next level and show that level of professionalism, we want to make sure agents at least once a month have a professional produce video that they can send out to their database that we can use for K-Grant for marketing and SEO reasons. But really for the agents, it's so important because, again, it shows they're a professional. This is a career for them. This is a business for them. This isn't them trying to be an influencer, doing their little selfie. They have scripts, a set, the lights. We have the production. We do the whole works for them.
It's intentional.
It is. And it's one of the benefits we give to our agents. We don't charge them. Having someone come in and do a video for you isn't cheap, but we believe so much in it and are so invested in making sure every agent has the opportunity to make that 6 figures. If you do what we provide, that it's worth it.
And the thing about marketing yourself as a real estate agent is it's not about mailing postcards. It's not about posting to Facebook. It's not about having videos. It's not about getting reviews. It's about doing all of those things and doing all of them consistently and constantly. I don't really understand how any real estate agent is not on a team. Like, I don't know how it would work, right? Like, because that's all in addition to, you actually have this job of selling people homes and managing the transaction and all that, right? I mean,
when I talk about your guys' team, I talk about the system because that's truly what you guys have created. I mean, it's truly just like a well-oiled machine that you've kind of created, and it's just like, this is the steps.
Yeah. Well, and now
get in here, and then we'll tell you where you are in the steps and,
and
what the process looks like. All right.
Well, yeah, it's like showing up as the difference between going to the gym on your own and being like, I don't know, I'm here to lift weights, and going to an Orange Theory or an F45 or something, right?
Great analogy.
Yeah.
Like, just show up and you know what you're doing. Right.
Yeah.
Exactly. We'll take it from there.
Yeah. As long as you walk through the door, Andrea's got you from there. And, she has a new coaching program now, too, internal for our team called Catapult that she's put together. And I'll let you talk about it. It's awesome.
Yeah, it's really a coaching program to help people take their careers to the next level. It's not for every agent, and we don't have every agent on the team a part of it because if you're not in this industry right now, willing to push yourself harder than you ever have, do things that make you uncomfortable, and have that accountability every single week for a year, it's a year commitment, it's not for you.
Yep.
You can be on the team and be very successful, but if you want to take your career from making 100,000 to 200 this year, this is how you're going to get it done. And we've partnered with our lender over at Nations Lending to come in and share with us what she learns.
Who's awesome.
As well. And it's literally every week. It's you turn in a sheet. If you don't turn in a sheet, there's fines.
Yep.
We're fining people for not turning in their sheets.
Love it.
Agents are paying to be in it every month, and it's not a lot. Our agents are paying $100 to be in it, and that money goes into a pool to bring in speakers or extra education, things that will help them grow to the next level. And then their fines go into that pool too.
Yep.
And it's amazing to see the difference in the office. There's a different energy than we've
You could feel
ever had. And people are excited. All of a sudden they're like, I did a video and did you see I have this many views?
Yep.
Right? And they're trying to figure those things out. Or how can we do an event? Who wants to partner with me to do an event? I have to get an event done because I need 2 events a month.
Mm-hmm.
And all of them have to have this many people in it.
Yep.
And it's exciting to a point. We just bought a bell to hang up in the office because they wanted a bell so they can celebrate it together and go ring the bell and everyone cheers. And it's made it fun again. We're going back to the basics.
Yep.
But it's fun because we're doing it together and seeing the difference together of what we're creating.
I loved it because it's a system that's trackable and they're holding themselves accountable. And you could really hear it in the meetings because, oh, well, does that count as an event? If I go, hey, Andrea, if I go to that, is that an event? Oh, well, what about I'm doing this and I'm doing this and I'm doing this? Do those all count? Can I put that on here? And it was just really cool to hear that kind of camaraderie and everyone, well, no, that doesn't count. No, don't take credit for that or whatever.
It's so fun. We're having
You're only cheating yourself.
Right, exactly.
we're having a great time with it. And it's these things we always knew we had to do. Everyone in real estate or in any type of sales or consulting knows you need to make the phone calls.
Yep.
You need to be networking. You need to write handwritten thank yous. You need people to know you as a person. And how are you going to make sure people know you as a person, not just a realtor? We all know it, but it's easy to get down in these rabbit holes. And all of a sudden, I don't even know what we're doing on Facebook, right? Instead of doing your business. And that takes it away because you don't want to turn in your sheet and be the only one that didn't do these things.
Right. Well, and it's easier to kind of get bogged down in other things that you think is actually work or productive that's going to generate stuff. But at the end of the day, those are the kind of the key things that you should be doing that will generate business as opposed to, you know, the little things that may not actually be worth the time.
Exactly.
Yeah, completely agree. Dive a little bit more into like Wise Pelican and some of the functions that it kind of does. So I know we talked a little bit about the postcards, but what are some of the other stuff that it can do?
Yeah, so we have some really cool features that we've built into Wise Pelican. One of my favorites is still we actually have the ability to calculate turnover rates live inside the system. So we've had a list building tool for a few years now that we built where you can purchase a list based on, you know, the radius around an address, or drawing a polygon on a map, just like you would on the MLS. But we also now have functionality where once you draw that polygon on the map, as long as you have a subscription to this or, you know, we have like just general monthly packages that include all your postcards. If you have a subscription to this, you can actually see those turnover rates live right inside the system. So if you're looking, oh, should I mail this neighborhood or this one next to it or this one across town? You draw those 3 polygons, it all comes down to numbers, right? And that's what marketing is. I mean, marketing's all about numbers and doing the things that you know you have to do and having the right design, right? I mean, those 3 things.
And I think that turnover rate, what I personally think is cool, when I sit down with agents on the team and they're newer into farming, right? So they only want to farm 200 homes, not the 5,000 that we send to.
Yep.
You can take that polygon then when you have an area and you can say, okay, I only want ones where they've lived in their home already for 5 years. And I only want it with these price points. And I only want it if they have this much equity.
Yep.
And so you can take a main subdivision and you can whittle it down as small as you want, as long as you're getting the turnover rates, but it shows you what you're getting. You can say, I only want absentee owners. I don't want the people that live right here and maybe know someone. I want the people that live in Wyoming and don't know anyone else in Arizona. And they can make those tweaks to get that list to send to.
Yeah, we have a farm that we mail to for the K Grant Group that is absentee owners so some people that own homes around the valley, but that live in Iowa, because Andrea's from Iowa. And so we send them postcards about how Andrea's from Iowa and she's an Arizona expert, right? I mean, that type of stuff works.
Hone down marketing.
Well, yeah.
Actually going after a subset of group that actually you have correlations with and stuff. That's huge.
And it can relate to you.
Yeah.
Like, people in the Midwest love working with other people from the Midwest.
Yep.
All day long. I mean, people talk about it, and they'll work with other agents on the team, and the person will say, well, how'd you end up working with K Grant? Well, I saw that Andrea was from the Midwest, and we knew that you guys had to have your work ethic and all this stuff in place if she's from the Midwest. And that really matters.
Yeah, that stuff resonates with people.
Like,
And they're right, by the way.
I get giddy when I meet somebody from Arizona, and the first question that you meet anybody from Arizona is, what high school did you go to?
yeah.
Like, if you meet anybody from Arizona, that's always the question. And I get excited when someone's like, oh, I went to Desert Mountain and stuff. Like, that just creates some sort of bond that we might have. We could talk about
Exactly.
different things and stuff that we can actually relate to.
So there's all different ways to farm, right? That's another way. If you're a transplant realtor here, you can sit down, go into Wise Pelican, and figure out who can I mail that's mailing address is in the state I'm from, but owns here.
Good topic. So why direct mail versus EDDM?
So, yeah, I mean,
got me
heated.
Look at him go, he's ready.
Yeah, I mean, no, it's a great question, and we get this question all the time.
Yeah.
EDDM for certain industries where you really just want to blanket an entire area can definitely be effective. In the real estate industry, it's being able to hit absentee owners is like wildly important. The other thing too, in Arizona, obviously we have tons of absentee owners because you just have a lot of second homes, you have a lot of rental properties. So you want to hit those absentee owners because they're way less likely to know somebody that's a real estate agent, right? I mean, that's, in our market, that's oftentimes who you're competing with. You're not competing with, someone else that is an Andrea. You're competing with their sister-in-law that has a real estate license that's done a transaction, right? So it knocks out a whole lot of that. But honestly, the ability to hit absentee owners is huge. EDDM, if you have a route and 25% of those homes are vacant, that means 25% of your budget just went literally into the trash. The post office just takes it and puts it in the trash. That's in their terms of service. That's exactly what they tell you they're going to do.
Okay. I didn't know that was the case. I just tell people, like 30% of them just get thrown away. I did.
It's what they tell you they're going to do. So, I mean, I think that people get maybe a little bit too, bogged down looking at this, and they're like, oh, I can mail a postcard for 35 cents or whatever it is, and they're not thinking about, oh, well, a quarter of those are going in the trash. 90% of them are going, to the wrong person because you don't want them going to the tenant. You need them to go to the actual homeowner. The tenant can't sell the house.
Well, and I know personally that it is a mail blast because my name's not on there, and so it's just a blanket mailer and stuff. So it's like, all right, and then I always kind of use your guys' success, quite honestly, to kind of tout that because, quite honestly, you guys have created such a well-oiled beast with this thing that you've seen the success and it clearly works.
Yeah,
so,
and going back to the targeted list, so right inside of Wise Pelican, we have all the things that Andrea just said. If you ever want to get weird, right? I mean, we can pull lists for anything. I can pull a list of a recent empty nester with a home over $750K in Scottsdale, that has a, Amex Gold card, whatever it is. I mean, we can pull all sorts of stuff.
You brought up design. How imperative is the design, branding, kind of layout of every piece?
So design, having consistent design and branding are incredibly important, right? Like, you really don't want to be messing with your layout. Having a design that you think is the most unique design ever on a postcard is not important. This is a conversation that our customer success team has all the time with our, users, where they constantly want to change the design and come up with something. That's not what, in general, marketing's all about. Just because with postcards you can do it, right? Like a TV ad, you can't do it. You're not going to have 50 different TV ads.
Right.
Just because with postcards you can do it doesn't mean you should. You really want to stick to consistent design. And one of the things that I think we've built, back to your question on the features, that's really cool is our Express editor, right? As you know, you help agents do this all the time, which is awesome of you. But because of the Express editor, you can actually save your contact information inside of the system, your headshot, your logo, and all that, and it'll automatically just fill in the information for you every time. So you pick one of the templates, you say, yep, fill in my information, all your information's filled. You can have that postcard out in like under 2 minutes.
Yep. Yeah, even faster. I show examples all the time to our sales team now, and I'm just like, look at how fast I could do this. And they're like, okay, yeah, this is amazing.
Yeah, and you don't need to reinvent the wheel. I mean, so...
You really don't. So we have 2 main postcards we send out to our farm. And I tell every agent on the team, send the exact same postcard we are. Follow what I'm doing.
Yep.
And it's a constant conversation because they're like, well, no, we're going into this holiday. I need to make sure it mentions St. Patty's Day. When a postcard comes to your mailbox, until you're ready to sell, you look at it while you walk in and you throw it away. If it doesn't look the exact same every time, they think that there's 9 different realtors sending them, not one. So it has to be the same. And like Geoff said, if you save different contents, our transaction coordinator now sends out postcards for all of us. She's managing 100 million worth of transactions a year. 100 million a year. We have 1 transaction coordinator doing it, and there's still enough time to do our postcards every month for every just listed, for every just sold.
Yep.
In a 40-hour week. She's not working overtime to get it done.
Right.
Because it's a couple drop downs. She knows it's one of these 2 templates. Andrea, which one of these 2 do you want?
Yep.
Drop down, and it's out the door.
I don't know if there's an easier system out there for postcards, quite honestly. I mean, you guys have definitely honed it into where it's like, okay, like if you're not doing this and you're making excuses as to why you're not getting postcards out, like I don't really want to hear it, quite honestly. But seriously, what's wrong with you? Well, and the fact that you could literally order 1 freaking postcard, and so it's like, well, I don't have the budget to spend. Well, okay, then you probably shouldn't first be in real estate.
Yeah, come down to 10 people then. Mail it to your aunt, your uncle, your cousins, whatever.
Your parents, or right.
It costs you less than $8. Right?
Your favorite teacher growing up. I always tell people when you're thinking who your sphere is, we all had that favorite teacher that loved us.
Yep.
They want to help us and say, I remember when I had her in 2nd grade. Look what she's doing now. All those people get put on our sphere drip and get our postcards.
Well, and then I always tell people start it small and grow it as you see success.
Yeah.
Yep.
And just always focus on do the size database that you're going to mail every month. You've got to mail it every month.
For a minimum of a year.
Really a year.
You can't stop at 4 months.
Is that what you're monthly at least, or more than monthly?
So what we do, so monthly is an absolute minimum.
Yeah.
Right? So
exactly.
It's cool. So inside of our system.
If you're not going to do it monthly, don't do it.
Don't do it.
Yeah. So inside of our system, we have what's called automated seller valuations. So that's a postcard that says, go here to find out instantly what your home's worth. We have QR codes on those, right? So the QR code is unique for each and every individual postcard. So they don't have to go and then type in their address. The minute they scan that QR code on their phone, bing, you get notified that they just scanned that QR code. So now you already have a lead. Well, so now the next step is it says, great, enter your email to get your instant home valuation.
Yep.
So ideally they enter their email, and now you have their email also. What our agents do is they actually physically bring a package to that home, as long as, the moment they scan that QR code and say, hey, I see that you asked for automated valuation. I just wanted to get you a real valuation.
Yep.
We have so many people get caught up on, well, what's the source of the valuation and what's that going to be worth? It's like, nobody cares. It doesn't really matter what it says. It could say $50 million. That's perfect, because now you can call them and be like, sorry about the $50 million valuation. That system's so stupid, right? It doesn't matter. Who cares?
Let me get you that actual number.
Right? That's all that matters. So what we do is we set up those automated seller valuations. So those are going out every month. And then you layer on top the just listed, just sold. One thing that a lot of agents don't think about is that if you have a listing and you mail a just listed, an open house, an under contract, and a just sold, to the people receiving those postcards, you just sold 4 homes. They don't know the difference. They're not saying they're like, oh, I see Jesse Spellman's just listed home is now under contract. Very interesting, Martha. Like, no, they're like, oh, that Jesse Spellman just sold another home. And that's all. And that's what it's all about, is them thinking you're the expert. It all goes back to not the hobbyist, right?
Well, and I think with what you said is interesting. Agents, we tell them that on the team, right? They get something and we're like, okay, send your just listed, send your coming soon, and they're like, okay, well, what photos should we put on? I'm like, the exact same one we did for coming soon, and I want you to switch the words to just listed. And they want to switch. Well, I showed the living room before, so I should show the kitchen, or they're going to think they're going to see it's the same home. I want them to think it's two different.
No.
No one's looking and remembering what couch and angle that picture was versus the next. Switch 2 words, coming soon to just listed to under contract to sold.
Yep. And that takes 5
That's all
seconds
you have to do.
Right.
You use the same thing. You push the button that says you want to duplicate that postcard. You go up, you switch those words, you say mail to the same list, and it's out the door.
Yeah, just like what you mentioned. It's like people are grabbing it, looking at it pretty quickly before they toss it, or if they end up actually needing it. But once they've seen so many of those consistent pieces, they're like, okay, yeah, I need to at least give Andrea a call or someone from
Exactly, at least a shot.
Right.
Yeah.
Like they clearly are the expert in this area when I'm getting something from them consistently. And it's the same kind of message and everything.
And we've gone on listing appointments before where there's a stack of our postcards, right? Or they'll call and I'll answer and they're like, we figured we had to go through. You have mailed us every month, do you know, for over 4 years? They know that, right?
Yep.
And they feel like they need to give it to me, not only because I'm the expert, but I've invested in them for 4 years. And we've gotten postcards from other people here and there, but you're the only one I know on this date every month. I'm going to get to see what the market activity is from you. You're going to send me a postcard.
Yeah.
It's funny. She's actually had some where they've been like, yeah, you've mailed me every week for 15 years. Don't want to be like, well, we've been in real estate for a little under 8, but okay.
Yes, we have.
Probably
Yes,
not
we have.
every week, you know.
But that's how
That's the perception.
Yep.
feels. And if you mail the same people every time, the same thing with your same headshot, the same look. We were on a plane one day and the flight attendant's like, I know you. After going back and forth trying to figure out, she was in our farm and had been receiving our postcard.
That's awesome.
But to her, she knew me. She recognized my face.
Yep.
And I was like, oh my gosh, a flight attendant now is recognizing me. It's like I'm famous. But it's just the consistency and not switching up what your brand is, what your look is, making sure that matches, you know, with the digital package like you were talking about. Your postcard needs to match your Facebook, needs to match your Google My Business, needs to match your signature line. You have to have a brand that's consistent across all platforms.
And so I guess that goes back to, I think Braydon asked me a question that I just didn't answer because I got excited about something else. I don't know.
Probably leads.
Talking about leads. Somebody say leads. But no, I think you're asking what else, you know, is Wise Pelican doing? And
Yeah.
we were talking about the digital stuff earlier. So that's what we're doing is we're actually helping agents. So when they mail postcards, we're taking the same design, we're turning that into a Facebook ad, we're turning that into a Google ad, and then we're retargeting visitors to your website with those same ads, but also retargeting the actual list. So if you say mail this postcard to 500 homes, we're actually taking that same list of 500. We can run some voodoo magic on it, and then we can actually target the Facebook ads to those same people.
Yep.
So now
Get
they're
the postcard,
really
log on to
seeing you
Facebook. They're like,
all over the place. Yeah, exactly. I mean, they just see you everywhere. And then through Google Ads, we can actually continue to run those ads across the entire internet. Most people don't know that like 90% of the banner ads you see, no matter what website it's on, is actually being served by Google. They're like the big players in,
right.
well, people know Google's a big player.
I was like, I think we all know that.
But that they're actually the ones responsible for ads across the entire internet, not just Google.
Yep. Yeah, no, I feel like it's hard to escape Wise Pelican. That's for sure. Every website I go on, it's like, oh, banner ad. Oh, banner ad.
That's how we like it. That's how we like it.
Talk a little bit about like goals and objectives for 2023.
Yeah, so 2023, we're really looking to grow as a whole, K-Grant, both from the stance that I want to see every agent grow in what are they making, what is their income level across the board, to the fact that we want to grow as a team. Like we were just mentioning, Geoff is getting us more leads than I think is healthy for us to be getting. But knowing that they're out there, I'm like, oh my gosh, there's so many agents out there that could benefit. If they joined us, we could take them from where they're making $40,000 or $50,000 a year doing real estate, worried about paying their bills, to where they're crushing it, making 6 figures.
Yeah.
And so that's really one of our big goals for this year for the team, is to grow the team and to make sure everyone on the team is making more than they ever have before. You know, we look at the fact our database has 40,000 leads in it right now. 40,000 leads are sitting in our database.
Yeah.
So when we say the gold's in the database this year and that's what we're looking at, how do we work those 40,000 leads and make it that every agent crushes it?
Yep.
And while other real estate teams are pulling back and saying, I don't know what's happening with the economy. I don't know. Sales are down, so I'm going to pull back my budget and this and that. We're upping all of it. We're like, now's the time that we were built for and to grow and to explode and take over that market share. I don't care if the number of homes being sold goes down. I'm going to take the market share from all those realtors that are pulling out, not doing it anymore, and become the big boys out here, right? I mean, we already do a lot of business, but let's take it to the next level and take all that market share.
Well, and like Geoff mentioned earlier, like it's tough for an agent in this market to be a solo agent. It really is, because like how do you do economy to scale in terms of generating the leads and stuff? Because then that's all on them. Like you guys have the capacity now because of how much you've grown this thing to really scale it.
Well, and it's interesting, right? I mean, I think most people are familiar with, a smaller piece of a bigger pie, right? And I do think a lot of times when it comes to teams, and different teams are different. I can't talk for everyone.
Sure.
But I think that there's always agents that are like nervous about, and they talk to Andrea, they're like, well, I don't want to give you that much of, my commission. It's like, but what if your commission is 10x what it is right now, right?
Right.
And I mean, that's what agents that join the team truly see. I mean, they really see a multiplier. It's not, oh, I did 2 more transactions. It's a totally different situation that they're in now. Right. But that makes sense, right? Like when you really break it down and you think about it, well, yeah, if, you want to sell candy bars and you're trying to go door to door selling candy bars, you're going to sell a lot less candy bars than if you have somebody behind you that says, oh, we're going to mail about your candy bars. We're going to run Facebook ads. We're going to, make phone calls about them. We're going to train you how to do all this other stuff. Well, yeah, of course, you're going to sell, it's a whole different ballgame.
Right.
And
busting out some great analogies.
I was just thinking that. I'm like, he's on his 80s this morning.
Take notice.
I think that espresso was a good one.
Candy bar.
Make sure we get the candy bar stuff in there. Yeah. Actually, after I said the Orange Theory one, I was like, damn,
that was good.
That's a good analogy. But it's one of the things that we've seen is it's interesting just by even adding the branding, so that when agents join the team, just from the branding, so that now when you're posting to Facebook, you look professional. We've seen where agents are like, I didn't know that I could 3x my business just by having a real logo behind my name and looking professional. All of a sudden, they're getting all this business from their sphere that they were.
It's automatic clout for. Not using that word, but it's automatic clout, I guess. Reputation, I guess, that's already like you guys have already created that they're now kind of just.
It's a plug and play, really.
Leveraging, yeah.
For them. I mean, we have an agent that joined our team last year, and she came from another group. And we went through the acres of diamonds, and 50 people are going to get a postcard. I mean, we believe in it enough. We give our agents a discount. If you're part of the K Grant Group, you get a discount even on those postcards because we know what it's going to do.
Yep.
She sent out her first mailing. One mailing. She spent under $50 to send out this mailing. She ended up with 3 transactions. And
results not typical.
Disclaimer.
Asterisk. Results not typical.
Because it went to her sphere. She was from Arizona. It went to her sphere. And her sphere was like, I didn't know you were doing real estate. She had been doing real estate and had her license for years. But never told them.
It's wild. It goes back to, I mean, now all of a sudden it's like, oh, she's no longer a hobbyist.
Yep. Well, and one thing, too, that I think I've realized from your team, too, is you guys have always focused on the territories where people want to sell real estate.
Yeah.
So your leads are in those territories, correct?
Yeah. I mean, definitely targeting your marketing is important, and you're throwing money after nothing, right? So, yeah, I mean, that's
leads are great, but you definitely want leads where they're in the area where you want to be selling, Scottsdale, Paradise Valley, Cave Creek, and those markets and stuff. And you guys do outside that as well, I know, but I think a lot of your stuff is.
I think a big part, too, is leads where you can speak the language. So when we first got into real estate, we were all about turnover rate. Mail where the turnover rate is, that's all we cared, which meant we were mailing all over. At the time, we were new here. We lived in the Optima Camel View. I knew Old Town. I knew grocery delivery. I knew walkability. But one of the areas we were farming was in Gilbert. I would get those listing appointments. They had the turnover rate. I would go and they'd be like, how does it impact my value that we're 3 blocks from XYZ school? And I was like, I don't know. Or that I'm this far from the grocery store and it's this close. And I was like, that doesn't matter. You just Instacart it, right? I couldn't speak their language. So we had to dial it back and tell Now we have agents that live in Gilbert and in Chandler, and we have agents in Surprise. We have them in Buckeye. And so when we distribute our leads to the team, we sit down with that new agent and say, what areas do you know? What areas do you want to be working in? And maybe they know now Buckeye, but they want to do Scottsdale. Okay, we're going to get you the Buckeye leads now, and we're going to teach you Scottsdale.
Yep.
And once you can speak the language, we'll turn the leads on, and you can start busting it out in Scottsdale as well. But if you can't speak the language of who you're working with, why would they work with you?
Well, and real estate's just so hyper-focused, too. Like, I mean, even a zip code is different than other zip codes in the same city. And so it's like, okay, you really got to hyper-focus on what you know. Like, just like you mentioned Camelback Optimal a couple times. I mean, like, that community alone is 1,000 or whatever units or something.
701.
Yeah, sorry. That's a lot of units just to get to know right there alone. I mean, shoot, if you knew every homeowner or every condo owner in that complex, that's plenty of business. And so it's like, all right, and I, whenever I meet with people and talk about Wise Pelican, they're always like, I want to mail to 85258. I'm like, great. And then I send them the invoice, and they're like, okay, I didn't realize it was going to be $20,000 each time we do.
Yeah, I want to mail a zip code, and you're like, are you sure you want to mail a zip code? But if you've never pulled lists, it doesn't occur to you. Yeah.
Right. But it's just like, all right, you really got to focus in. And that's where I'm like, okay, now let's actually focus on a specific neighborhood. And that's the neighborhood is going to be your farm now. And so now you've got your database, you've got your farm. Consistently do that.
Yeah.
Well,
stop thinking about anything else.
Where your farm is, too, when you first start. Like, at this point, right, we're mailing thousands of places for the team. Yep. But our agents, when they're picking their farm, I say, where are you going to be? If you shop at XYZ grocery store every day, let's look what the turnover rate is there, because you want the people to see you. You're a neighbor for them.
Yep.
You want them to see them on a walk.
Well, just like I think you mentioned at the meeting that like Kevin does all the open houses right now, and he's going into like grocery stores and being like, oh yeah, or maybe it was Mary. I think it was Mary.
Yeah.
And people are just like, oh, you're the open house lady.
Exactly.
Just like that subliminal marketing. So it's like you got to be in your market. I always tell people that, like, you're walking your dog, you're going to the grocery store, you're doing all those things. That's in your.
Well, that's the way Laura is, right? One of our agents, she always is walking her dog several times a day. Her brochures and postcards are her holding her dogs.
Yep.
And she's always there, and she crushes it in the area she farms. But she'll be walking from her car to the condo, and people will recognize her dogs. But they know that she's in there.
Yep.
It's who are you, and stick with it and be in that area. You can farm in areas you don't live and walk around every day. And obviously with us farming 5,000 in some homes, I'm not walking that 5,000 in some homes every day. And you can still have great success with it. But if you're in a really small area and mailing a small number,
Start with your backyard.
Start with your backyard, because those are the people. It's more touch points for free.
Yep. Start with the backyard, and from there, don't try to farm somewhere emotionally. Don't farm where you think is cool. Farm based on turnover rate, right? And don't farm somewhere that another agent already has a super stronghold in, right? There's plenty of business out there. Don't go to war with somebody. Find the high turnover rates, go with the areas that, aren't owned by some other agent, and just hit them hard, right? I mean, just hit them hard. And, the other thing that I think sometimes real estate agents have trouble with that's different, right? So Wise Pelican, over 90% of our business is real estate agents. But it is interesting to see the difference with our other clients. We don't have any other clients outside of real estate agents that think they're professional marketers. It doesn't happen, right? Like, we have dentists we mail for, and they're like, I don't know, tell us what to mail. What are you talking about? I'm a freaking dentist over here. Like, that is one thing that I think real estate agents have trouble with is, like, what are you doing? Like, why are you talking to me about marketing? We've been doing this for 30 years now. Like, we know what we're doing. So I think that is, something that a lot of times agents don't realize is, like, if just starting with a few $100, I think our smallest, so we have like these monthly packages at Wise Pelican. I think the smallest package is somewhere $300-ish. Yeah. Don't quote me exactly. But it's something like that. And if you're just paying us like that $300, we're going to get all of your postcard marketing done every month for, your 500 homes or whatever. So you don't need to come in and reinvent the wheel and do all this stuff. Yep. Or, someone can partner with someone like you, right? That also knows how to do it You have the templates. You have everything ready to go. They don't need to spend a bunch of time on marketing. If you're a real estate agent, you should not be spending a whole bunch of time on marketing. There are companies, there are title partners, there are lending partners, there are people that do this for hundreds or thousands of real estate agents that know exactly what works.
Yep.
So you don't need to reinvent the templates. You don't need to go at this alone. Really don't go at it. Come to me, say this is what my budget is. Literally go to wisepelican.com, hit the live chat in the bottom right. Someone will be on with you. Say this is my budget. I want some listings. They'll do it for you.
Is it 24-hour support?
It is 6 a.m. to 10 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. So
Because it seems like there's always some.
pretty close. Yeah.
And they're quick to respond.
They are
It's
very
like,
quick. Anytime I'm doing a demo, I'm like, watch this.
right.
Hey, I need help.
It's
Yeah, what you need? Nothing. Just testing you.
Yeah. You don't have any bots.
It's funny. I used to walk over to Geoff's office, right, and be like, I need help with this, or how do I do this? Well, then he's on a call or he's doing this. I can go on that chat and I have an answer quicker than it would have taken me to walk over to where his office was.
Yeah. I mean, so when I built Wise Pelican, part of my thing is like, I'm the person that I will not call an 800 number. Like, I'll just keep some subscription going before I call an 800 number. Like, I will do anything but call an 800 number. And my voicemail says, don't leave me a voicemail. You can text me. So I was all about building it. So you can chat with us. You can text us. You can call us. I don't know why you want to call, but lots of people do. But you can do any of those things. And, you know, we're always going to be responsive.
Yep.
So
Yeah, the level of service there is definitely second to none. No
well,
question.
we want your money. If you're on the website, you're ready to spend money. We're trying to have you spend that with us.
Love it. Guys, this was awesome. Before we end it, talk a little bit about like the team camaraderie, because I think that's one thing that really helps stand out with you guys, or stands out to me, and at least in my eyes for your guys' team, is like the fact that you guys had that awesome holiday party where you hosted everybody at your house. You had a magician there, a bartender, all the food. It was just like you had a friggin' food truck out front. Like, that was amazing. And like everyone just had a blast. And I feel like it's actually like truly a family at your guys' office. Like everyone truly cares about one another, supports one another. Even Ron's event that he had in front of his house where everyone showed up, and Elon Musk even flew his rocket in the back.
Yeah, right.
Really cool. So like I don't know how you even pull things off like that, but just really cool. So talk a little bit about that. I feel like the culture.
Well, first, you saying that really warms my heart, because it's one of the things that I've always cared a lot about. Before getting into real estate, I worked for a company that didn't have a great culture. And so from day one, I said, I will never run a company the way that was run. People aren't a number.
Yep.
It's a person. And we're a little more selective about who joins our team. You know, a lot of teams say the more the better, and we'll take everyone because if you do one transaction, that's a win for us. That isn't our approach. We want people that get along, that have the same work ethic, the same ethics as a whole,
Yep.
And that want to grow something together. And so you could be a rock star agent, but if you're always stabbing people in the back and gossiping and stuff, you're probably not a fit for us, because everyone on the team has gotten to the point that they are close like family, and they'll text each other about things and just check in with each other randomly. And that's what I've always wanted, and that's what makes working fun.
Yeah.
Real estate's a grind. Anyone in it knows it's a grind, 7 days a week. It's nights, it's weekends, it's how do I take a vacation? Our team doesn't struggle with that. We do the work-life balance because we have each other to count on.
Yeah.
Geoff and I go on vacation, and people are like, do you want to forward your phone to us? Not because they want the leads or the calls. They want us to be able to disconnect, and they do that with each other. Everyone takes a vacation every year, and no one stresses it. They actually take a vacation. In real estate, that's crazy. It is a plus, an added bonus. But people help each other, and it's not a tit for tat. Sure, I'll show for you today, but you'll show for me tomorrow then, right?
Yep.
It's more, oh, you had a doctor's appointment and need coverage? Let me do it so you can focus on what you need to. And I think that's cool. And it's something that we've always really been focused on our team. Before someone joins, they interview with me. I say, yes, I think it makes sense to move forward. But then they come to a team meeting. They do one-on-ones, lunches, happy hours with people on the team.
Yep.
And then I talk to everyone on the team that meets them, and I say, do you think they're a fit?
Well, and I mean, the amount that we invest in each agent is insane, right? I mean, both hard costs and just Andrea's time, and then We pair everyone with a mentor when they come on for the first year. I mean, so there's a lot that goes into onboarding an agent. So for that reason, no, we don't take 100% of agents like Andrea said. But yeah, it keeps that real, kind of team mentality going.
Well, and I think it keeps the brand. Like Geoff and I, in case you haven't been able to tell, are very brand driven.
Yep.
Our brand that we want is to be the true professionals, the experts, the go-to. If someone signs up on our website, I want that person to know they are going to get the same level of service with whoever they're round robin to as they would if I was working it.
I was just going to say, it's no different than if one of your representatives were to show up to the listing appointment versus yourself.
Exactly.
They're trained to that extent,
And I've never been in production, and Andrea hasn't been in production for a couple of years now. So it's not like if we have a friend or family member or someone coming in off of our farm mailings, Andrea's not taking those listings. I know on a lot of teams they do.
Yep, that's a huge point.
Yeah, with us, I mean, those leads are all going out there. So it's really important to us.
State that again. So you're not doing any of the leads yourself?
Nope. I moved out of production almost 2 years ago now, so I haven't worked with a single buyer, a single seller, other than if an agent knows my expertise is going to help. They may say, do you mind coming on this appointment with me?
Yep.
But we're not cherry picking it. Honestly, when our friends say, no, I want to work with you, Andrea, I'm like, no, you don't.
She doesn't know the inventory.
I don't know the inventory. I'm not going to be able, if you call me and say, can you show me a house in an hour? I'm going to say, well, I have these 4 meetings first, and then I have this. I don't know the market to that same level. You don't want to work with me. You can run stuff by me, or if you have questions or on your second viewing and you're ready to make an offer, I'd love to go see it and tell you what my thoughts are. But you don't want me being your go-to agent anymore. You want me to select the right agent on the team for what you're looking for so you can work with the best.
I think that's what's helped you guys tremendously as well, is your success now is your agent's success.
Exactly.
Right? So that is truly what you're invested in and where you're spending your time, like you said. And then that's almost more valuable than the financial investment. I mean, your expertise and learning from who has done it is like anyone says, get into business, find a good mentor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think it's important to Andrea that it is, that everyone on the team is somebody that really represents the brand, right? And that's something that's taken us 8 years to create. So
love it. Well, hey guys, kudos to what you guys have created. I'm grateful to be a partner and excited and just grateful for your friendship as well. So it's like you guys mentioned, I feel like I'm part of the family as well, and it's been fun to kind of watch you guys grow and just kind of be a part of it. And so thank you, and thank you very much for coming on.
Yeah, we've always loved working with you, and I love everything that you're doing, helping agents out there too. So
well, and just coming to you as a resource too for everything else that I'm doing on the back end of our company now, and just kind of having your level of knowledge and expertise is definitely greatly appreciated. So all of your insight is.
Wow, my head's getting big.
Yeah, as well as it's.
Gosh, how am I going to get him in the car to get home?
He's a very intellectual guy. So, how can they get a hold of you guys?
You can shoot us a text or phone call. My number is 480-387-3990, or just send me an email, andrea@k-grant.com, and always available.
And if you're interested in Wise Pelican, best thing to do is go to wisepelican.com, jump on the live chat, and, most importantly, just create a free account and check it out. So name, email, phone number to create an account. Check out the system, and don't worry, we'll be in touch.
Yes, they will. Thank you again, guys. Geoff and Andrea Lilienfeld, K Grant Group, and Wise Pelican. And thanks for sticking around for another episode of Break It Down with Braydon, and see you guys soon for more to come. Thanks.